Welcome to the channel. This is Roger Thunder. I thought I wait till events like the attempted assassination on Trump, the supposed attempted assassination on Trump. I wait till events like that are, 3-4 days old. And I look at all the stuff that comes out, and then I couple that with my expertise in the, let's say, the area of firearms, which I was raised around since I was a kid, and I'm a gunsmith, and I have had experience with scoped rifles, and I've had experience with what kind of rounds are fired from the rifles, and just a long experience being around firearms, which doesn't really qualify me as an expert, but I will say that looking at some of the videos that I've seen out there, I think I have enough expertise to put a handle on this as far as the bigger picture goes. And also, as far as if anybody's interested in sniping, this book here, Sniper by Stephen Hunter, and he does a whole series of books based on the Bob Lee Swagger character, which has kind of been made famous by the movie The Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, and then there was a series called The Shooter. I have been into sniping, let's say, or the history of snipers, and what kind of equipment they use, what kind of rifle they use. And again, I say the different rounds and all of that good shit, all right? But having said all that, people are like concentrating on the minutia right now, and they're failing to look at the big picture. And really, it boils down to real simple facts of the matter, okay? There's two theories, okay, or there could be two theories about this whole situation. But let's take it from the news angle first. Let's take it from the angle of, okay, we were on this run of a week and a half of being saturated about Biden's incompetency and his dementia, and whether he was going to run for president, and seemingly the Democrats were all in turmoil about this, and donors were bailing, and all kinds of stuff. That's all you heard about for saturation in the news. As far as saturation in the news, that's all you heard about for weeks, okay? Then all of a sudden, out of a clear blue sky, comes this assassination attempt, or supposed assassination attempt. And I'll explain to you why I say supposed, because I don't believe anything I see and half of what I hear. So basically what happened is the whole Biden narrative disappeared completely off the charts, the news charts, the mainstream media, and was replaced with the supposed assassination attempt, which, wow, talk about coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence, not when it's pretty obvious to me that there's, this is how the media has always worked. This is how the deep state or the elites or whatever you want to call them, the bad guys, this is how they work. They work by distraction. They work by replacing one news story with another. If one news story gets too hot and heavy, they bring in something else. And coincidentally, that something else was Trump, the Trump attempted assassination. Let's put it that way. Let's just take the big picture on how the Secret Service works, Period. Right, just that alone. Let's just take that and put it to the side, or let's put it to the forefront, and everything else to the side. And I'm going to try to simplify this because there's so much bullshit out there. It's unbelievable on this whole thing. The way the Secret Service works, they protect their guy, okay? And in the process of this protection, when their man is going to speak, the person they're protecting, like Trump, when he's going to speak or go on a stage or go on a public venue, the whole area is screened, okay? And I'm talking about way out, okay? Not just 100 yards or 150 yards or 500 yards. A good sniper can make a shot even at 1,000 yards, right? It's been done. So, taking that into account, and you know that the Secret Service knows this because they have their own professional expert snipers. So, what you're going to have to do when a person that you want to protect is speaking is go out into a circular, a circle around the main character who's on stage, 1,000 yards. Go out 1,000 yards. Some people are saying 500 yards, or, well, even 500 yards would work, because the building that the sniper shot from, the supposed sniper, see, you don't know anything about this stuff, really, was only 150 yards away, okay? Was only 150. That would have all, in a pre-screen or, a recon, let's say, of the area, that all would have been covered. They would have had snipers on every roof. They would have had every roof covered by snipers. With the most advanced technology in the world, they would have had the ground covered with all kinds of Secret Service in uniform, out of uniform. It would have been saturated. And so, and also another thing that has come up, which is just ridiculous, is the communications between all these people. With the technology that we have today, and the cell phones, and the military equipment that's available, every one of these guys should have had an earbud in place with a little microphone that comes down to the mouth. And they could all kind of hear each other talking, okay, and there would have been a command center or a way, for them to get instantly, I'm talking instantly, to a command center. Hell, they can talk to each other in war when they're, using these headsets. This is advanced gear. This is advanced technology. They're acting like we're in the Dark Ages here. And I also am a radio enthusiast, shortwave and whatever, have built several radios. So I know about communications, and again, I know about firearms. Hell, I have even built firearms from scratch, all right? So the big picture here is that whole area would have been covered. They would have had excellent communication. There would have been a sniper on key locations, or even on that roof. And there weren't that many buildings in the area, and there was a water tower and a few buildings, and they were elevated. And so immediately a professional team, when they go in there, would have known all that. It's a no-brainer. Have all that covered, all right? So according to the reports, this was all a miserable failure. And there's all kinds of excuses as to why it was a miserable failure, which fall short of reality, or they're basically incredulous. There's all kinds of stories about, well, the 20-year-old kid parked a van, and he came out of the van, and he was walking towards the building, and he had his rifle slung over his shoulder. But, you know, some of the excuses are, well, maybe the other guys thought he was part of the team. Really? Really? I got some swampland down in Florida that I'll sell you real cheap. When you're on a team, you are in full gear. You have body armor, you have a helmet, you have shooting glasses, you have camis, you have, you know, boots. You're well equipped. You look like, you know, you almost, well, you've seen SWAT teams, you've seen tactical units. They're very well equipped. So some guy walking up in a t-shirt, okay, in a t-shirt, no hat or helmet or anything, and a pair of khakis, immediately is going to be a super red flag. Like, who's this guy? And they would be on him like flies on shit immediately in any normal circumstance. It isn't about whether they, you know, are going to take him out or not, which is almost irrelevant. Should have never got to the point where they even had to consider taking him out. They would have been on him in a group of people and had him on the ground and disarmed in a matter of seconds. If the normal protocol of screening a whole area, cordoning it off, and saturating it with agents. Oh, and then there's other excuses. Oh, there were all kinds of different agencies, and the head of the, you know, this is a real telling thing. The head of the Secret Service, a woman, I think her name's Cheatham. That's a good name. You couldn't make this shit up. She came up with some lousy excuse that the reason snipers weren't on the same roof that the sniper that shot at Trump was on was because it was too slanted. And it was it looked like at less than a 45-degree angle. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Snipers can work in any kind, in trees, on roofs, you know, on water towers, in the most camouflaged to the max, in their suits that they wear. You know, this is just, it's fairy tale stuff. It's fairy tale stuff. So basically what it amounts to, the conclusion that you have to come to, is one of two things. Either it is a completely fabricated thing, staged thing, because if it was staged, okay, if it was all staged, they wouldn't have had to, they wouldn't even have bothered to do the perimeter check or anything like that, because they knew it was staged in the first place. If it's staged, what are you going to do? Worry about all this stuff that might pop up later? If it's staged, it was sloppily staged to make it look like Trump, you know, was under attack. Or if he really was under attack, if it was staged, let's say, by the deep state to take out Trump, that almost seems incredulous. It is incredulous, because if they, you know, really were serious about taking him out, he would be taken out. They have the resources, the assets, the snipers, all of that stuff. They have the resources to do this. I think people, you know, all you got to do, okay, is go watch a movie by, you know, that Mark Wahlberg's in, called The Shooter, the original movie, not the series. And it was patterned after the book I showed earlier by Hunter. And he is an expert and has delved into and done research on every aspect, okay, of what goes on. And that, just watching that movie, how they, you know, go in and do a perimeter check and check, you know, check every possible situation and have all bases covered and the whole ball of wax, it's easily revealed to you better than what I could do here with a video. But yet, here we come with this a real modern day narrative that indicates that none of this shit was covered, that it was totally sloppy, that it was totally lax. In fact, any resemblance between Secret Service and the reality of this situation is coincidental. Period. So this was either totally incompetent or set up, one of the two. It was set up for a reason. And I could go with the setup for a reason, because that's just an earmark of how these people operate and how they want to change the news cycle. This is all done on a much, much higher level. It's all done on a very high level, and they, to me, aren't that inept and have the resources, okay, where they don't need to be that inept. And so basically what it amounts to is that we are in a news cycle, a political news cycle here in the United States. And everything that is happening in the United States and all the distractions, the Biden failing health and dementia and the Trump assassination attempt, all of that stuff is exactly what I said would happen a couple videos ago, or 2, 3, 4 videos ago, about how right in around July, or let's say the middle of August and September, 1st of September, from that time period, you're going to see things that you're not going to believe. All hell is going to break loose, you know? Now, if it was a setup to really kill Trump, they failed miserably. They failed miserably, and in fact it has the reverse effect on, let's say, them getting their guy Biden in and all that being rosy and cool and all that good shit. That, you know, if that was the intention to eliminate Trump, they failed miserably, okay? Failure. So now what's going to happen? Are we going to go back to, is it going to be a mixture of the Trump assassination? See, they confuse people. They cause chaos. This is a way to cause chaos. The only thing that, you know, and then the other, you know, the other theory, okay, or the other thing that you could look at, you have to look at all, you know, when you're a strategist and you know, you're a chess player, you have to look at all the possible situations that this could be. And then the other situation is that it was staged just to make Trump look like he had an assassination attempt. We don't know about his injuries in that regard. Okay, and I'm not saying, don't get me wrong here, I'm not saying that it didn't actually happen. I'm saying that there's a possibility of it not having happened. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do to create blood and make it look like blood. You could snap, in the movies, they have an ampule that is blood, and an ampule that breaks easily, and you can slap that right against your head, and they do this in the movies all the time for gunshot scenes. You can slap that against your head, and it immediately looks like you've been hit in the body with a a bullet, all right? So there is that possibility that that could have been staged to that effect, all right? Because it is rather miraculous that a miss like that could happen if it was actually a real planned out, intricate, well thought out situation where they wanted to take Trump out. So again, let's look at the big picture here. Let's look at the big picture. The big picture is we're involved in 2 wars, in Gaza and in Ukraine that we're losing miserably. The supposed president is demented. The other president, or the former president that is running for president again, is there's an attempted assassination. Okay, so you got all these chaotic events going on: the wars, the assassination thing, the dementia thing. You got all this stuff going on, swirling around, and everything seems to be. You got the NATO meetings ramping up the war here and there, and so everything seems to be in utter chaos. And it would be okay if some of these events made sense, but they don't. See? Like the shooting thing, that doesn't make sense at all. There is no rhyme or reason to it. It's just out in la la land. It's completely divorced from reality as far as what really should have been happening and gone down and the protection and all that. And then you got the dementia thing. That's completely divorced from reality and la la land, out where the buses don't run, popping up out of the blue, out of nowhere. So somebody that is a real strategist will look at all this stuff and go, what I see here is a conglomeration of events that are meant to baffle, confuse, distract from whatever real situation, whatever real agenda is planned here. And let's not make a mistake. These guys aren't dumb that plan these agendas. These are think tanks, and all kinds of people sit around and basically they bullshit with each other. And these think tanks, what they do is they come up with possible scenarios and solutions and this and that to control the narrative, to control the population, to control all these seemingly important events, which aren't important at all. Politics isn't important. It's a sham. It's a lie. You don't really get. If you vote somebody in office, it's irrelevant. They never keep their promises. Everything diverts off into another direction. It's all like a snake oil, smoke and mirrors bullshit program, all right? And then you got the fact that supposedly the reason that wars go on and hundreds of thousands of people are being killed in these wars, the reason they go on and the reason that they're put on hold and the reason they're extended, either one. If they're put on hold, it's a threat. If they're extended, it's considered not a threat. Until, okay, and then this is the narrative, until the outcome of the election, which is a complete fraud anyway, and isn't going to do any good anyway. So all these hundreds of thousands of people have to die in order to promote a possible victor at the elections. Does that make sense to you? I mean, does that really make any sense to you? Of course it doesn't. So if you're coming from a point of view of like you're looking at humanity and you're looking at what's good for humanity and you're looking at what's good for the earth and the planet and all that type of thing, like I like to do, coming from the Native American tradition and thought and prayer and from that aspect of it and the unity of mankind, what does all this stuff do? It disunifies mankind. It makes them not only paranoid and scared, and it just kind of like the 9/11 thing, when that happened, everybody was riding around, they were freaking out, they had waving flags on their cars, and in complete abject terror almost that the nation was being attacked. And then what came out of that? Well, you had the Department of Homeland Security and the Patriot Act and all these things that took your rights away. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Everybody's forgetting that here. Present a problem, utter chaos in the meaningless political system. You know, that's the problem. The problem is America's on the brink. It's on the, man, we gotta make sure that we get somebody competent in the White House, and there's so many things that are happening right now, and it looks like there's no competency on either end of the political spectrum, and oh my God, what do we do? And got to do something. So that's the problem, and the reaction is just what I said, what everybody's saying there. And then somehow a solution to that problem will arise, and the solution will be something that probably takes more of your rights away. Okay. Further erodes the supposed Constitution of the United States. Something that further enslaves mankind, something akin to martial law, or more lockdowns, or, you know, the society is in disorder and we have to do this or do that. So you can just about expect something else to pop up, okay, because it's, you know, whenever they do these chess moves, they don't just have one objective in mind. It's not just one objective. They like to knock off about 3 or 4 objectives all at once. That's how they work. That's part of the splatter effect. Because when you have all these things going on, it's basically, to all these things that are going on is connected some kind of an objective. Okay, and it's like pieces of a puzzle. It's like pieces of a puzzle that they're putting it all together and mixing it all up. And there is dumbfounded mankind standing out there, looking at all this shit, okay, and not being able to make out heads or tails of what's going on with anything. And then just when they have got mankind or the citizens stretched to the max, they'll introduce something else. That's the classic pattern. So you can expect some kind of false flag. And what I'm saying about this, as far as the big picture goes, is this could all be a false flag. I mean, all the events that you're seeing, this is something that you should really take to heart off of all this, is that all the events that you have seen, everything that I have described here, and I mean everything, is one big false flag. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. It's not like, oh, this is a false flag, and this is a false flag, and it's all a false flag. It's all one big operation, which makes all these things like the Trump assassination attempt and the Biden thing irrelevant. Basically, it's you got to just look at it as like, okay, that's another piece of the puzzle. And the objectives, as far as the objectives and agendas go, they're all real good at, planning this stuff out and thinking about this stuff. But what they're not real good at is what the consequences are. Because I don't care how much you play chess and how much you feed into quantum computers, which give you answers beyond anything you could imagine. When they feed into quantum computers information or plans, and they desire that computer to spit out a certain outcome, quantum computers and all this AI stuff is fallible. It's fallible, and it can spit out any number of scenarios that are bogus or miss the point. You can't trust in a computer. I don't care if it is a quantum computer. Just look at spell check. Hell, you go in there and you're trying to spell a word sometimes and they come up with the most nonsensical shit you ever heard of. Has nothing to do with the word you're trying to spell. And meanings of words, and so computers, I look at computers sometime and I'm like, why am I relying on you for spell check? You're a dumb shit. You're not telling me anything. You're guiding me away from what I really want to try to accomplish here. So you could just interpolate that or expand it out to how computers work. They don't work all that good. They're way overrated, let's put it that way. And these think tanks are mostly filled, about planning possible things and possible outcomes and thinking about strategies and all that stuff. These think tanks are full of people that are preconditioned to a certain type of strategy in the first place. If they're neocons and warhawks, well, they're going to be bullshitting with each other about how best to do that. It's not what's best for mankind in general. That all went out the window quite some time ago, So it's hilarious, really. I mean, it's the way that people are taken advantage of. That's why I come on here occasionally and I don't just talk about stuff in the prayer circle or the sacred medicine wheel circle that I've formed, the Red Road Prayer Circle, which is something you can find out about in the show notes, or go to spiritofcrazyhorse.com, or email me at rogerthunderhands@gmail.com if you want to find out about joining a prayer circle or a unified group of people on a spiritual level that is realizes that much protection and soundness of mind and centering of the heart and coming from the heart. If you want to find out about that, that's available in the show notes, spiritofcrazyhorse.com. And you really, when you look at what's going on in the world today, if you don't have some type of bond and familial unit, or let's say a group of friends that are like family or tribe or that type of thing, you feel alienated from your loved ones, there's division, you feel like, the world doesn't care about you, you wonder about if your prayers are being heard and that type of thing. There's always strength in numbers and encouragement in numbers. And that's what people have to do right now. You really have to do that. Okay, I highly recommend it. And I have a few people, and it's small right now in the prayer circle. Don't take that word prayer to mean anything like Christian or anything of that nature. Prayer is like an affirmation, or really, when you get right down to the Lakota tradition of the Chanupa and the sacred pipe, and that kind of ritual basically is you're talking to Great Spirit directly. You're talking to Great Spirit, and Great Spirit knows you inside out, forwards and backwards, knows all your faults, all your issues, all your concerns, all your wants and needs, all your character flaws, all, the bad side, the good side, the ugly side, the beautiful, magnificent side. And so you can, when you talk to Wakantanka, Great Spirit, then you can be sure that you don't really have to be anything other than yourself. You can talk just the way you do in real life. You can use all the words. You can even get angry and profane, and you can do anything you want with Great Spirit, because Great Spirit's just looking at you going, I know, I understand, I know you fully, I know you from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. But it always helps, okay, to come clean. There's no perfect people walking out around on the earth, all right? And sometimes we think we're so imperfect, or that we're so bad, or that because we think this way or have a bad thought, or, you know, sometimes we do things that we don't mean to do, and then we start beating ourselves up. And like I told a member of the circle recently, that don't be so hard on yourself. Just be yourself, accept yourself, the dark side and the light side. Because compared to what the evil in the world today of heinous men, dark men and women that are in control of governmental, governmental organizations and society, and think tanks, and all these people that are scheming to kill 100,000 at a pop, or 500,000 people, men, women, children. That's evil. Okay, that's something that you compare yourself to that, and you'll get a revelation that no matter how bad you think you are as a spiritual seeker, let's say, no matter how much you think that you're failing, no matter how much you think that you have made mistakes, and all of that kind of good shit, you've got to contrast that with what's really evil and what's really going on these higher levels of complete deception and mind control and brainwashing and propaganda and covert ops and false flags and all that stuff. That's what you have to compare yourself. And if you do that, you're squeaky clean, brother or sister. Don't worry about your little minor faults or your character flaws. Not that I'm saying that you shouldn't address those and be concerned about them. But to think that you're a really bad person because you do this or that, or accuse other people of being bad people because they do this or that. Again, I haven't seen any perfect people walking around on the earth. I don't know any. And if they are, I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. And neither are you, okay? So it's about acceptance, okay? Acceptance. If you're heartfelt, if your heart's in the right direction, and all you could do is try. All you could do is try. Don't beat yourself up compared to what's going on in this world. This is the kind of stuff that we talk about in the prayer circle, or this is the kind of stuff that you have to realize. Let's say from an indigenous point of view, or a native point of view, this is the kind of stuff that you have to realize. And you also have to realize that the wars of today are not like the honorable count the coup wars of, like, let's say, the tribes. Mostly the tribes were united, but they had their little battles about land and this and that and driving each other away from resources. Yeah, they had that too. But it was more from an honorable level, all right, if you can grasp that concept. And they did, and then when the white man came in, they definitely had to band together and form up. Again, they became warriors, and yes, they killed, and they did all kinds of things. But that's a huge contrast between that, what we had then, and what's going on now. What's going on now. There is no honor. There is not even a sense of morality, not even a sense of any kind of virtue whatsoever. It's all just a blank screen as far as, you know, it's a dark black screen as far as any kind of light being in the picture or any kind of balance being in it. So like this video and support this channel through donations at spiritofcrazyhorse.com, and join the prayer circle. Go to spiritofcrazyhorse.com in the show notes below, click on email and email me. Or just, you know what, if you want to pray in accordance with the Red Road Prayer Circle, be my guest. You know, the reason that I get names and things of that nature are because we can all help each other. If we, you know, if we band together, we're actually forming a family unit, and there's, we can help each other in regards to the different issues that face us in our life, whether it's through talking to one another, encouraging one another, giving advice, giving actual material goods. It doesn't matter. It's all helping. We all help one another, and we all get in that unified state of mind instead of the fragmented state of mind that they're trying to impose upon us. So I'll leave it there today, and I'll just say Wopila, Aho, Roger Thunder. Till next time.